taking over, that's a promise, not a threat.
Uppercut season off top, you stop breathing.
Get off on the Hard Rock fight last night, Hollywood.
Yeah,
my neck of the woods.
Yeah, for the pay-per-view, for the first pay-per-view, first boxing event of 2022, the main event where PBC/Fox, was in LB's neighborhood of all places, at Hard Rock, putting on
They're like the empty rock.
Yeah, the funny thing is, I was looking at this shit. I was like, God damn, I thought there would be some more motherfuckers up in this shit. Like PBC didn't really do a good job in trying to at least black out some empty seats, or at least have these cats move up a little bit, as the fights progressed. But there was mad stars up in there. Holyfield was up in there. Danny Garcia was up in there. Canelo was up in there with his
pajamas. So his pajamas look like he's wearing pajamas.
Yeah, and that and some shades on his face, which leads me to believe that dude was probably partying a little bit too hard on New Year's, or else doing other things.
Everybody damn showed out to go see that fucking fight. Wow.
They had Riddick. They showed the wrong Riddick Bowe.
Yeah, they showed. Yeah, they put the wrong graphic under for Riddick Bowe. Like, although the other guy did look like him pretty much. I mean, but it wasn't like him. And who else was there? Ugas was there, obviously, to support Luis Ortiz. So yeah, like the stars did come out, but it just seemed like it was just weird having all these like big boxers over there, and the shit was not even close to being full.
That's something, because first of all, it wasn't promoted well, and the fight just kind of came out of nowhere all of a sudden. Like,
yeah,
it literally was talked about, or it came out, I think, the last week of November.
Right.
So you really looked like you only had maybe 4 or 5 weeks to even hype up and talk about the fight. It just kind of came from nowhere. Like, and they always do that for Florida cards. Like, they'll drop a Florida card a month from when it's supposed to come out. Like, they did that with the Andre card.
Right.
I'm like, God damn, like, it's like, y'all motherfuckers really training for fights in 5 weeks? Like,
yeah.
4 weeks and it's a stat card? Like, oh. Yeah, that shit looked dead in the motherfucker last night.
Yeah.
No, but at least sometimes sometimes the crowd doesn't always influence whether or not if a card will end up being quality or not. Although, like I said, optic wise, it's not really a good look. So, like, I know before the main pay-per-view started, there were 2 fights. There were 2 fights on there. One was 2 Cuban heavyweight southpaws. I think they were both southpaws. I think Pilot, you watched those fights. You watched that fight, right?
Yeah, I watched it. It was Pero. Yeah. I forgot the Pero versus, I forgot the other dude's name.
Bruzon or something like that.
Bruzon,
yeah, and that was probably the second best fight of the whole night. Like, those 2 Cubans slugged it out for 8 fucking rounds. Like,
yeah, they went at it.
They were throwing home run shots, no knockdowns or whatever. But they tore each other up in that little freebie opener. I was actually impressed by the level of their effort. I didn't think they were going to do that.
Yeah, facts. That was a good fight.
Yeah, that was a good fight. And then after that, we had
Frank Martin versus Duno.
Yeah, versus Romero Duno. That was like the only the only televised non-heavyweight fight.
Yeah.
And that fight was pretty good too. Like, Duno was giving him a little trouble early on.
Yeah. I like Frank. Frank did his thing though. I like Frank.
The Frank adjusted though, and he obliterated Duno with that left hand. Like, I've never seen a left hand so thorough. Like, the first left hand that caused the knockdown in round 4, I was like, oh shit, that was still kind of swift. But then the second one had him, like, it looked like it reset his brain. Like, dude did a little spastic dance and went to the canvas. Like, I was like, God damn! Like, he got rid of dude. And also, I gotta give him props for mentioning Devin Haney as a champion, because, like I said,
that was dope. That was real dope.
Yeah. He made sure, he's like, he made sure. I want all the lightweights though, and he specifically mentioned Devin Haney.
He mentioned Haney. Yeah, I like him because, like, it seems like he's probably with Errol Spence, because before the fight they were saying Mandat Promotions and Errol Spence was shouting him out on Twitter before and after. So He seems like somebody you might, give a little push to.
Right. Yeah, and it's a lightweight in the lightweight division, man. Is like I said, it's definitely getting to that point now. I think hopefully in 2022, like they make the right fights to really put it as a real elite division.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Frank Martin is a great addition, man. So hopefully, PBC will put a little push behind him and get him, because he deserves to be on a main card, not just a.
Facts. I want to see him watching that. I want to see him versus Michelle Rivera, the fake Ali boy.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, hell, even put him against Rolly or somebody like.
Rolly, they don't want to risk him against Rolly. Probably not.
yeah. Like I said, PBC has enough of a 135 contingent that they can start making some interesting fights now.
Facts. Yeah, they should have a little tournament or something. Yeah, 135 is just a stacked division on every platform, so no different with PBC.
Right, and honestly, it was a good little appetizer for the pay-per-view, and the opener was the best fight of the whole card. Victor Vicris, aka Victor Foss, versus Iago Kilazzi. Man, now talk about a slugfest, man. This shit only went 2 fucking rounds. There were 5 knockdowns in this fight. Like 5. Like it seemed, and the funny thing is too, is it seemed like every single time one of them established the jab and threw the right hand, things happened. That's first it was Kilazzi that went down, then Foss went down, then Kilazzi went down again, and Foss went down. Like those two could not get out of each other's way. Like there was no head movement. Like I think both of them, Foss got bloodied, and Kilazzi was. I think Kilazzi was straight. He wasn't really bleeding, but he was just getting hit a little bit too much. And this fight was trending towards fight of the year candidate. Like it really was, But unfortunately, the last time Kilazzi went down, which was the 5th and final knockdown of the fight, the referee kind of determined that, he wasn't really responding to commands, even though I don't think that was the case. I don't know about you, probably, but did you think Kilazzi actually got up and he seemed like he was clear, he had his wits about him?
See, there's an argument because, like, at one, you want to let the guy fight, give him his time, but this is the argument of he's a heavyweight. Anything can happen in heavyweight boxing, one shot, So I thought it wasn't a bad stoppage. I mean, I've seen worse.
Now, I didn't agree with the stoppage because it looked like it wasn't like Kilazzi was wobbling. He wasn't doing, he wasn't doing a hucklebuck. He wasn't he wasn't doing a drunken 2-step. Like dude was, look, he got up, he walked, and then the referee seemed like he was just eager to stop this shit a little early. Like dude was
they were getting this matchroom on because they wanted that. They were trying to get the other dude the W, so they were just finding it out, I guess. It seemed like
and honestly, that's what I was thinking, because immediately after they wave it off, Kilazzi was just like, "What the fuck?" And then Kilazzi took a swing at the ref, and the referee was like, "Hey, what the fuck are you doing?" Like he kind of G-checked him, and then they got separated. But I don't even blame Kilazzi. Kilazzi left that ring like pissed, and then with Foss Pilot though. Yeah, I actually like the way that Foss ate every punch, and like he was the one that was fucked up. His face was bleeding. His nose
he looked in bad shape.
Yeah, so it's like, you should you should have let him take that loss, because now you have to really watch him, because dude clearly doesn't know how to move his head and doesn't is a sucker for a jab. And the funny thing is too is Kilazzi's jab too. Every time Kilazzi actually got his jab going, he was freezing Foss with that jab. Like he froze him like solid, and then throw the right hand and dude be all discombobulated and shit. But that was a hell of an opener. I was like, okay, this is lit. Like we about to see some shit. And then the next fight was Ali Demiriazan, something like that. I keep forgetting his name. Versus Gerald Washington. Now, I've gone on record before, I think probably others have too, that Gerald Washington should not be trotted out on these cards anymore, these PBC cards anymore. Like, Gerald Washington is like 39 years old. Like, he's like, what is he? He's like 2-5 in his last like 7 fights. Like he hasn't won back-to-back fights since 2016. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, he's like, I mean, yes, he's a big guy. You know, he's 6'6". He's, you know, weighs around 250, 245 to 255, shit like that. Although in this particular case, he weighed in the heaviest of his career, and it showed in so many different ways.
Oh man, yeah, his stamina. I've never seen his stamina that bad for heavyweight. I mean, in a while on the main card, you know, that was kind of just because he boxed well in the beginning. He boxed pretty well, you know, first couple 3 rounds, working the jab nice, and then I don't know. After the 4th or 5th, whatever it was, he couldn't throw another punch after the 4th.
Yeah, because Demirezan, you know, he had basically all he did was he walked him down. All he had to do was just walk him down, because, you know, basically him fighting off his back foot gassed him out even like quick, like he was labor to it. And Demirezan wasn't even throwing any real hard shit at him. He was throwing consistent shit at him. But you can see Washington. Not only was he gassed, but he was also getting. You saw his face; his eyes were all puffy and swollen, like he was getting busted up, and I don't think he was landing any real hard shots on him like that. Yeah, in fact, one of the complaints I had about Demirezan was the fact that he was a poor finisher, because he would land a left hook. It seemed like he was just throwing to throw, and then he landed a good shot, and then he'd still let Washington like escape, like he'd escape off the ropes too much. But then and Washington's corner was trying to, like, they was telling him, like, yo, like, you gotta stand your ground, you gotta fight. But you can't, how you gotta tell a gas nigga to fight? You know, you can barely breathe. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Like, you know, it's like, you know, he needed to suck it up, but he wasn't doing none of that shit. So finally, I think it was a 7th or 8th round. It was 8th round. And the funny thing is, too, is Washington at that point was still leading on. He was leading on the 2 of the cards by 1, you know. And even though he was taking a real beating, his face was showing a beating, but his corner pulled him out of the fight because, like, you know what, you gassed, you're not doing nothing, and dude isn't going anywhere. So this shit is, it's a wrap. So I mean, Demirezan, you know, they keep him, you know, he's still usable for PBC. You know, they can still put him on the cards.
That's the perfect word. He's usable.
Yeah, he's still usable. And Gerald Washington, like, if they don't want to give this man like brain damage or any type of damage, like, they need to stop putting him on these cards. Like
he needs to retire. I mean, he's like almost 40 years old, played football, took beatings, you know. Yeah.
Like, if he doesn't, like, he played football at USC. Let's not even say just football. He played football at USC.
Yeah, and practice squad trying to get on, you know, you know. So
yeah, so it's like, I mean, we don't like. I mean, we I don't want to see his brain. I don't want to see his brain turn into mush, because, you know, college football at a D1 school, and then, you know, find some of these cats he's been fighting. You know, but they need to pull him off. They need to pull him off the PBC cards. Like, they need to let him go. He's 39 years old.
Can they put him in PBC in another capacity? Make this nigga do interviews, read something, like,
I mean,
train. Like, I don't know, man. But Gerald Washington being on a pay-per-view card or any major card anywhere is like let's not keep this a trend going in 2022.
Right, you know, because like I said, I mean, because it's making it look like his knockout over Hellenius, you know, make it look like it was a fluke, you know, and it shouldn't be, you know. But it's just like you keep trotting him out there, and, you know, he's taking these beatings, and he doesn't have no stamina anymore. He's 39. It's like that's like, yeah, it's like it's only so much. Like he's gonna suffer for it. Like, they need to let him go. Like, it should be over for him. Like, find something If you want to keep him, find something else, like LB said, that he needs to be able to do. But yeah, like, he's done as a contender. And then we have the third fight on there, man, which was a rematch from earlier from the summertime with Johnny Rice and Michael Polite Coffey. Now, the first fight was a top 3 upset or top 5 upset in regards to odds. It was a huge upset. Johnny Rice especially. He flipped at 180. Like Duke, came in. Before he used to fight passively, but then he realized that man. I'm a big dude. You know what I'm saying? I'm 6'5", 260 something pounds. Let me do something and beat the crap out of another PBC prospect in Michael Coffey.
Yeah. He did.
So, yeah. So obviously, the back, that's the backstory. And then Coffey was talking about, man, I couldn't sleep. I can't do anything. But the worst thing about this is both guys came in heavier than expected. Like there was no training. Like Coffey came in about 7 pounds heavier. And then,
Coffey still looked a little muscular though. Like
yeah, he did.
Like he was weight training or he was doing some type of training, but maybe it wasn't boxing skill related though. Like but he looked like he was training. He just got heavier.
Yeah, not Coffey. Excuse me, Rice though.
Rice, no, that nigga.
This nigga came in 15 pounds heavy. Like I don't know what this nigga was doing. Yeah,
he was real top heavy. Like it was noticeable.
Yeah, I don't know what. I don't know what Rice was doing. Maybe that he was feeling himself a little bit too much. Maybe he got a little payday, from the upset victory. I don't know, man. But either way, he looked swole. Like basically, he looked like me. You know what I'm saying? So,
like it looked like he lifted weights, but then he looked like he didn't do no cardio or he ain't really.
Yeah, he didn't. He did no.
Like, I don't know. It just he didn't look like he was in shape like that though. Like he didn't look in shape.
And so in the fight that where he probably obviously, if he was in shape, he could have repeated his upset, and it would have been brutal. It wouldn't have, it would have been maybe another 5 rounds because, like I said, as LB said before, Coffey, whatever he did, it wasn't. He didn't up his skills. That's for damn sure. Like
yeah, he was probably in better shape, but not like skill wise or strategy wise.
Yeah, and
he took more punches this time around.
Yeah, and the funny thing is too, and what was wild about that shit was the fact that Rice. Rice pretty much ate every punch. Like it didn't affect him. Like his face wasn't swollen. None of that shit. Like Coffey's punching was not affecting him. But on top of that too, and Rice was gassed and gassed pretty early. But every single time he threw a long right hand, he landed. Coffey ate that shit over and over and over. And Rice has some boxing ability too, so it wasn't like Rice can actually fight a little slick. But the problem of this was if Coffey was in this better shape, why didn't Coffey at least try to press him as much as he did? Like he didn't do anything. Like he was headhunting.
It was good. It was a good point by Rusty saying that he didn't have to be in shape to beat Coffey.
Yeah, and Dude was styling on him. Like Dude was, and Dude. Imagine someone being gassed but still being able to style on you like that.
Yeah, it just shows there's levels to that shit. Because Coffey was undefeated before, and he was like, I remember on like a Fight Hub or Fight Hype talking shit, like he was a big dog. But that was before he got knocked out and before this. So it's like that.
Yeah.
You know what it is? It's like he got gassed off the power and just fighting, the career mode dudes.
Yeah.
He finally fought one dude who could take his power and could, outbox him and outfight him. So, like, I don't even really expect Coffey to even do anything else really after this fight.
Yeah, he's pretty much, He started boxing late. He started boxing late, too.
Yeah, there was one round where it did seem like Rice would be able to put him away, because there was one round where Coffey got shook bad. And,
it was more than one round. I think it happened like maybe 3 times where Rice had him going, like where he needed to put together like maybe a couple more punches, but he wasn't in shape to do so.
Yeah, but the thing is, too, as the fight went on, like Coffey made. Here's the one thing that this annoys me about a lot of today's boxers, the new boxers, switching stances. If you don't know the reasoning or the science behind switching stances, don't do it. Do not do it. And a heavyweight doing it is silly to me, because why? Why are you doing it? You know, that's
Yeah.
that's the thing that used to kill me. Is like it seems like, and this is like the shoulder roll all over again. Everyone sees Floyd doing the shoulder roll, and then they try to do it themselves, and they don't do it correctly. Like if you're switching stances, there's a reason why you're switching stances. You know, and it seemed like Coffey was just doing it. He did it so many times in the fight, and was not effective in either stance. Like focus on trying to be effective as
that's
a
the
righty.
thing, he was out of shape, so at that point you're just bullshitting and posturing because it's like running down the shot clock. Like he knew Coffey wasn't going to press him. Like Coffey seemed like he was in better shape this time around than the first fight, but Coffey wasn't pressuring him. Coffey would just manage a Hail Mary shot every now and then, or he'll put two punches together. And he would catch Rice so often, but it still wasn't enough to make to really swing the fight in his favor or give him a real shot. So
it could have, and it was just bad.
A bad performance from him.
Yeah, like Rice still busted up his eye. He was bleeding all over the place. Like he looked pathetic, you know. And I don't like to say that about fighters, but it's just like, come on, like. You said you were hungry to get a rematch. What was you doing? Like,
yeah, because it's like just doing drills, moving your head, slipping punches, even blocking correctly would have had you looking better. Even if you would have lost, you wouldn't have took the beating you took. Like you got your ass whooped like for 10 rounds.
Yeah. And I'm just reading what Rusty said. Rusty said Coffey needs to apply for the bouncer job.
That shit was hilarious. He thanked Al Heyman off top. It's like, I'm making 6 G's now. I can quit the Sapphire Strip Club. So cracking up.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm not even. I mean, Rice needs to. I mean, I hope he understands that he needs to be in shape. No, Rice needs to cut at least 20 pounds.
Because I mean, he advertised the job to this man so across the world, and if we see that's how you gonna fight when you come into there, nigga, we'll be touching all the bitches in that motherfucker. And you ain't gonna say shit to us, nigga.
now Coffey. But the one thing about Coffey too that I was like this shit's not from like he was giving me Seth Mitchell vibes. Like, you know, and usually
shit, even worse than that. Like Seth Mitchell at least moved his hands a little.
Yeah, no, but I mean, Seth. Obviously, if you guys don't know who Seth Mitchell is, you know, go to YouTube. Like, there's a reason why, and it's not necessarily a positive thing. And basically, it's this like, you know, you see someone who basically doesn't know how to make any real changes and still takes punishment or still doesn't have the type of chin to really go forward. And I'm seeing it with this guy already. Like, dude.
Yeah, he has a better chin than Seth Mitchell.
Yeah, but he's getting buzzed up. He took a good amount of punishment in these 2 fights.
And that's not even a good thing because it's like I've never been like if you're getting your ass whooped badly and it's no hope. Like I'm not gonna give you credit for just having heart. Like
nah. Yeah, like
show me that there's some hope in there, then yeah. But
yeah, in this case, I didn't see it with Coffey. So honestly, I mean, for me, I mean, along with Gerald Washington, and I saw Rusty's comment about him. Gerald so Washington, he didn't want to be there. Yeah, I mean, that's facts. But yeah, Coffey, like if he Coffey's already 34, 35. Like I mean, dude doesn't need his brain scrambled over this. Like I mean, he was a military man. Like I don't want to see this guy get hurt. But you know, if you have to, the 2 fights you had with Rice were not the type of fights that convinced me that hey, you're gonna go anywhere. All that's gonna convince me is that you know, you're gonna have one heavyweight that can realize, hey, I can hit this dude, you know, and that's not how it should be going forward for anyone who's
you didn't show any improvement. Yeah, definitely.
Not one. And salute Henny God, I saw you in the building, man. So happy New Year's, bruh. You know, glad you could join us.
Salute.
But even then, like I said, at this point, the pay-per-view was like it was decent at this point, but it wasn't, you know. But this is where the pay-per-view, the next fight is where the pay-per-view was just low, and there's not enough discussed about this fight. That I mean, Frank Sanchez.
Oh, here we go.
Like I mean, Frank Sanchez, like he has some talent. Like you can't like because his style is incredibly difficult to, you know. It seems like for most of these heavyweights to actually deal with. even before he actually started rocking with Canelo and them, like his fights were never, they're not pleasing to watch. Like, and it's mostly because his style it's I don't know if you want to call it's a Cuban style. Like, it's really like dude does. I mean, for a heavyweight, dude moves a lot, and I do.
It's a trash style, man, because it's like, first of all, he's too big, he's too powerful, too strong, too skilled to resort in employing a strategy that is so neutralizing and so deficient of a constant offense. Like, it's honestly, he antagonizes my eyes seeing him box. Like, what's the point? Like, it's one thing if you don't have power, you're not a big guy, but when you're a big guy and you moving like that, like people said Lennox Lewis was boring, and he had his boring moments, but geez, this guy is like,
yeah. And I've heard, and I've before the fight, I was hearing, Frank Sanchez got next, and I'm like, I hope you don't have next, because come on, man, you gotta get
and see the way he fought. Like, I can understand it if it's someone who I think is dangerous. Like, let's say, in like an FA Ajaba, like, now that fight, like, I mean, I had high hopes for it, and then Ajaba unfortunately got outboxed, and he even managed to knock Ajaba down in the fight. But
although the ref was fucking over Ajaba in that fight too.
That's also true, yeah, because there was a knockdown on him that wasn't on Sanchez that wasn't called either. So there's some bullshit in there, but he did clearly win the fight. It wasn't like it was a close fight.
Yeah, he wasn't close.
He looked horrible too, though.
It was a chore to watch.
Yeah, but in this particular case too, when this fight was originally announced, he was supposed to face Carlos Negron, who was not, it was trash. And then Negron came down with COVID. So what happened? We got a replacement where it was Christian Hammer was called in, and Christian Hammer was not in shape. Like, you could tell he wasn't. The dude was out there. He was eating pie and shit. You could tell he was not in no shape, man. And on top of that, he was coming off a loss to Huey Fury, just maybe about 2 months ago. Give or take 2.5 months ago. So yeah, he was like, he wasn't in no type of shape. And usually when I see that, I'm like, okay. Frank Sanchez, you need to attempt to get rid of him. Now, I'm not saying Christian Hammer is, he is more skilled than he appears. He does,
but this wasn't a fight where he's supposed to outskill him. Because look, if you're getting outskilled by Huey Fury, then there's no need for me to try to outskill you. Then I'm gonna treat you like a jobber or a career mode dude.
Yeah, I mean, it only took Huey Fury 5 rounds for Christian Hammer to say, "Nah, I don't want any more of this." Yeah, and Huey Fury is not a puncher.
Exactly.
Yeah, but Sanchez, good lord, like, this dude was all that circling, all that moving. Now, I'm not saying heavyweights don't need to have footwork, but nah. That shit was
the happiest feet I've seen in my life.
Yeah, like you can't be sweet sciencing no Christian Hammer like that. You're on the co-main of the pay-per-view. Like, you gotta put foot to ass. Now, if he takes the punishment, then that just happened. That's it. You can't do anything about it. But if you're out here circling the ring and shit, like, I know the pros on Twitter were not happy. Like, I know Anthony Durrell was like, yeah, nah. Yeah, he's like, I don't watch heavyweights for them to be moving around and shit.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, there is negative. I like footwork too, but there is negative. Like, you don't want to see a heavyweight ring around the rosy, but they're not damaging their opponent. I mean, in the end, I think Hammer got a dubious knockdown. I mean, Sanchez knocked down Hammer in round 10, and I think it was kind of dubious too. I don't really think it was a knockdown, but it was one of those things. It was just like, at that point,
that wasn't a knockdown. I saw that shit. That was not a knockdown.
But at that point, I didn't care because it was like 9 rounds. All I was thinking was like, thank God I actually slept good the other night, so I didn't nod off during this fight.
Yeah, that fight was a good cure for insomnia.
Yeah, no, it was some horse shit.
I mean, I can't remember seeing a good Frank Sanchez fight.
He's never had one. Like, I mean, even the fight he scored, I assume he scores knockouts in. Like, Eventually, I mean, probably the closest one was maybe the Brian Howard fight because he actually knocked down dude a couple of times. I mean, he actually looked like he was motivated to put dude away. But every single fight I've watched on this dude for the last couple of years, because he made, I think he was on a PBC. He made his debut on the fucking Lubin Gallimore Easter Junior Granados card. He was on that shit. He was the opener of that shit. That was the first time I saw that dude.
Oh, I forgot about that shit. Yeah.
I took it back. And his fight was trash. You know, because then after that, it's just like it's just I don't. I mean, I see why people people hold him up to a standard, and he has potential, but his style is trash.
Yeah, he's talented. I mean, we're not trying to say he's not a good fighter because he's clearly he's talented, but
yeah. And I know people are calling him on Twitter like a heavyweight Rigo and shit like that.
Way worse. I mean, he's more boring than Rigo, honestly.
Yeah, but at least with Rigo, I can actually pick out fights on Rigo that I actually like to watch. Rigo,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. At least Rigo got a handful of fights that I could be like, okay, these were pretty good Rigo fights, pretty decent. But Frank Sanchez, like anybody who used to shit on Chris Bird talking about he was boring, I hope to God you don't like Frank Sanchez as a boxer.
I'm saying.
Because if you do, I'm going to just say this right now. Fuck you.
That's real too, man.
That's all I can say, bro. Like, I mean there's nothing appealing about his style. Like I'd rather see Corey Spinks and Miguel Vasquez slapbox with Ivan Calderon as the guest referee than watch Frank Sanchez box.
It's sad that. I mean, the only thing I can give him props on is at least he's active. Like, dude has been super active. Like, he shows up on PBC cards. He shows
actively up boring me, nigga. That ain't nothing.
Yeah, he definitely reinforces LB's School of Cuban theory.
But
I wouldn't even call that Cuban boxing because he doesn't even pump the jab a lot when he moves.
It's
no,
so
he
weird.
don't. He really don't.
He doesn't. And also, it's weird because Canelo was piping him up saying, "Oh, he's the best heavyweight." I'm like, isn't Ruiz in your camp too, brother? Like, what the fuck? Why are you? Isn't him?
Oh, the same Ruiz that he be yelling at and saying to work harder.
Yeah.
The same former heavyweight champion Ruiz. Yeah, like I don't know what the fuck going on over there, bro. Like, like if you're hyping up Frank Sanchez over Andy Ruiz, then
I don't know.
I don't know, man. Your eyes are just as bad as the motherfuckers who be giving you rounds in all these goddamn fights. Shit, that's all I got to say on that.
Yeah,
I know niggas is like, hold on, that's the first Canelo slander LB said for the year. Like, mark it. Like, the first episode, and he already got one. He ain't waste no time.
Episode 1, you already know the deal. You're gonna hear some Canelo shit and some Chris Bird drop.
Unfortunately though, like I said, as long as he keeps winning, he showed he was the prospect going forward. Unfortunately, in the one fight we did want to see him in, until this I know I'm gonna hate watching this. When the step up fights finally come, what
step up fights is he's going to have?
Yeah, I was going to say, what's next? Because I feel like we were all hyping up the Jocko fight to be a dope ass fight.
He should be fighting Luis Ortiz.
That would be a good one. That'd be a good.
That'll just be
level. Yeah, that'd be a good level of fight, I guess. But
and truthfully, that's probably a good segue into the final fight of in the final fight on the card, the main event with Luis Ortiz and former IBF heavyweight champion of the world, Prince Charles Martin. And like I said, me saying that he's a former heavyweight champion. In fact, Martin held gold and Ortiz didn't. Is why boxing is so crazy. Like, boxing is the sport of unexpected. They're unexpected.
David Tua was better than both of these guys, and he never held one either. So
yeah. Boxing is so strange like that. Like, boxing will have some of the have unexpected fighters that don't have no business sniffing the title, winning belts, and then the ones that you can tell that could do it. The cards are never dealt in their favor. So, but But then in this particular fight, though, this is a crossroads fight because Ortiz is basically trying to maintain his status, as because pretty much in terms of maybe top 5 heavyweights,
because he has to get a third fight with Wilder, folks. Like, we just have to see that. Like,
yeah,
there's no other big fight they're gonna trust him in.
Right, and then of course Martin. Now Martin was, I think, low key, Martin was supposed to be his tune-up for this because Martin, like I said, he's a former heavyweight champion, and he's since losing the belt, save for a loss to Kalnacki, he's been consistent, and he had a nice little knockout against Gerald Washington, and shit. But one thing we learned about this fight is Luis Ortiz, his legs are going. They're not going yet, but they're slowly going.
Yeah, that was weird. He was the way he was shaking, his legs were, they seemed gone.
Yeah,
his reactions too, his reflexes, they're shot.
Yeah, when Martin dropped him with a right to the head, I'm like, whoa, shit, what is this? Honestly, Martin has a good KO percentage, but you still don't expect him to not. I still didn't expect him to knock down Luis Ortiz, but he did it.
And he didn't throw a lot either.
With the jab, I think he got him the second time with the jab, right?
Yeah. And fuck this too, that was a hard jab. You could see it. I thought it was maybe he slipped though, but when he slowed that shit up, Luis Ortiz ate that whole shit.
Yeah, Martin was holding his own early on. I was like, okay, King Charles, Martin, okay, the man that walks among the god.
But just the thing is, Martin could have even looked better and more impressive. If you're a young guy and everybody's young, I guess if you're fighting Ortiz,
facts.
You need to be damn throwing 80 punches a round. You should be trying to make this dude have a fucking heart attack by the time the 4th round hit.
Facts.
Yeah, you gotta make his daughter cry more than twice because I don't know.
Oh my god, that was the saddest shit. I get tired of seeing this fucking daughter
4 or 5 times, just her bawling her eyes, and I'm like, come on, man,
Yeah, I was like, why did? I was like, someone clearly,
were they forcing her to watch this shit? So bring her to the fucking back, nigga.
Yeah. That was.
Oh my god, those droopy ass puppy dog eyes. I couldn't. I didn't want to see that no more. I'm sorry.
PBC cameraman was wilding with that shit.
It was just too fucking much.
I mean, once isn't even tolerable, but 3-4 times.
I get it once, and then if the fight goes into be prolonged, when a fight go to maybe the 8th or 9th, maybe twice, I give you twice.
Yeah, maybe.
But then after that, then save it for after the fight. But it seemed like he had joy in that shit. He was demented, twisted.
Yeah, that was weird. That was weird.
Every 30 seconds, anytime a punch land, he would be like, wonder how the daughter's looking.
Right?
You evil sick fuck.
Yeah,
leave her alone. Damn.
Yeah, exactly. But what was wild though was Martin. In fact, Martin was styling Ortiz for a minute. All he had to do was, he was defensively responsible. He was styling on him, and then it was just he built a good lead going into the 6th round. But I think he got took out. Like I said, the last thing to leave a fighter usually is the power. It's the power, and Ortiz. Even as you see his legs, he looking all scattered, his reactions all scattered, can still punch a ton. I've been to an Ortiz fight, I've heard his punching. Dude punches like a fucking mule. He has audible punches, and the fucking left hand that he landed over the low, it was the low right hand or whatever of Martin. Yeah,
Martin was being sloppy because he's a sloppy fighter.
Yeah.
This is what we mean when I say that fight was lost in the gym 5 years ago or 6 years or whatever the case. This is another one of those reasons, and this usually only happens at heavyweights where I say this shit at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that punch that landed, that pretty much now this is where the fight turned to fuckery, as this nigga was literally knocked out standing. Dude dude was in another dimension. Dude was in the fifth dimension right now.
Yeah. He was thinking, did I leave my stove on? Did I lock my back door? For a second.
Dude was out of there. And then Ortiz saw that shit. Now I'm surprised the referee. I mean, honestly, if the referee wanted to stop it at that point, I would have been fine with it.
That'd be fine, at that point, because that guy.
Yeah, but the funny thing is too, but Ortiz was a little sloppy though with the finish though. Like, I mean, but I understand why he was sloppy, because he was like, he knew he was down, and he knew that if he let this dude off the hook, then the fight was probably, then he'll probably have to really chase Martin around the ring. So he let those hands go, and it ended up with Martin getting his arm trapped between the second and first ring ropes.
Looking like Stone Cold against Undertaker back in the day.
Yeah, like pretty much the only time I've ever seen that happen in wrestling, that and then Andre the Giant used to do that shit all the time. It was one of his signature spots.
Yeah.
You know, and then and he'll do that, and then have to have Bobby the Brain Heenan untangle him from the ropes. And then the other time in boxing is when terrible Tim Witherspoon knocked out Darrell Wilson with an overhand right, and his arm got trapped in the same fashion, except Darrell Wilson was unconscious, like out of it. He was gone.
Yeah, I remember that.
I love that bit.
However, he was lucky though, because his hand got trapped in there. The referee couldn't count him.
Yeah, that bought him a good like 5-6 seconds at least. Because the referee couldn't count him. In a way, that little thing that happened saved Martin from probably getting TKO'd at that point. Yeah. So the referee had to. The referee had to do it.
Difference either way, though.
Yeah, he was done. He was done anyway. Either way, he was done.
Yeah, so because unfortunately, Martin also does not know how to hold or really get on his back either. So
he tried a little bit. He tried a little bit, but nothing was. Yeah, Ortiz is a good finisher because he was. I feel like some of those shots were a little low with the body shots in the end, like in the flurry. I feel like some of them were a little, maybe, you got away with a little low below the belt, but whatever.
Of course, yeah, he knew what he was doing.
Yeah,
like I said, I mean, like all boxers know how to bend the rules when need to. Yeah, he knew what he was doing. He knew he was fucked up. He was all fucked up. He had to make sure that he wasn't. He had to make sure that he stayed fucked up. Like you know what? He had to make sure he was like, wait a minute, I'm getting hit to the balls now. What the fuck? So you gotta make it. You gotta make your opponents think, man. He knew what he was doing.
Facts.
Yeah. So basically, he went down. He eventually went down again. And I always said Martin was trading with him. Like he tried to, because I don't blame him, because Martin did knock him down twice. So I think Martin was trying to see if he can counter him, but I don't think his skill set was at that point to do that. Or try to. I mean, at least he gave it a good college try. But once he got up though, the referee, because at the time I think Martin's whole face, his nose was all bleeding, and it kind of exploded. So it was like, the referee stopped it, and Martin kind of snapped out of it at that point. Martin, Martin was kind of complaining, and then he went to Luis Ortiz, and Ortiz gave him a shove because he thought he was about to go talk some shit to him. But eventually they got that shit sorted out. So I mean, Ortiz wildered himself to a victory he needed, because if he had lost that fight, and especially how he was losing that fight with him being knocked out by Martin, that shit would have been over. Like you couldn't really put him as anything. And I know all the people that like to talk about Deontay Wilder's resume, myself included, would probably be on Twitter and elsewhere talking about it.
Wilder stands let a sigh of relief when you saw Martin. You know what I'm saying? Like Wilder stands definitely like, okay, we can still hang our hat on that W for now. On those W's to tune in. But he should retire. I mean, honestly, Luis Ortiz is
the legs are going.
Yeah, he's going. I mean, they're gonna feed him to Ruiz or some, and they're gonna feed him to Andy Ruiz or some shit. It's coming, but he's about 55 years old. They should just fall back, to be honest.
Yeah, I think PBC's gonna try to get some more mileage out of him in some sort of fashion.
But they gotta match him up good though, because it's a thing. He can't lose to someone like a Martin or less than a Martin. Because you kill Wilder's whole resume. Think about it. Charles Martin is Luis Ortiz's best opponent. Charles Martin don't even have a best win.
Charles
Martin is now Ortiz's best win, and Ortiz is Wilder's best win. So Wilder's best win is a guy who beat a guy who doesn't even have a best win.
the levels.
The levels of this. And then you got motherfuckers saying that Wilder is like first ballot Hall of Fame. Who the fuck is going to be? Dude, like, it would have to be the weakest year of all time.
Yeah, facts.
But then he's a heavyweight, so he's going to get preferential treatment. So, but I'm just saying, just look at this shit objectively.
Yeah, I mean, let's put it this way. Julian Jackson iced Hall of Famers, and it took him damn near 20 years to get into the Hall of Fame. Like,
people gonna say, "Oh, Wilder got 10 defenses," but out of those 10 defenses, Ortiz is the best opponent.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't even say Ortiz is better than damn Derek Chisora at this moment.
The funny thing is too is like, I mean, Ortiz was the deal up until the first Wilder fight, but it's how he moved after the fight.
And that's the thing, and even before the first Wilder fight, he didn't have nothing great going on like that. He had a good little record, and he beat Brian Jennings, which was a good win. Mm-hmm. But other than that, cool, he had momentum, but that was it. It's not like he was, running through the division and just kicking ass, taking names. Like, and then after the first Wilder fight, look where he went. Like, come on.
Right, yeah, exactly.
It's horrible.
Yeah, so like Obi says, man, Luis Ortiz has to be kept. He has to have the right opponent. Like I said, like if he loses to a jobber type of fighter, the shit is over for him. Like,
He's not gonna come in there with no jobber. He's got to fight Andy Ruiz next, or somebody else on PBC. They were really no risk. Maybe Frank Sanchez. Somebody else who's someone who's on the up and up, or someone who may actually look like a champion. Yeah, so Wilder doesn't look too bad later. See, Martin would have looked real bad, because then it would have been like, well, damn, I see why Wilder didn't fight Martin.
Let's put it this way: if Martin won, it would have increased Anthony Joshua's resume more, because since he actually had it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's the type of stuff, like, you mean that, and that will cause like more separation between Anthony Joshua or Fury or Wilder. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So yeah, like, but Ortiz Ortiz needs to, they have to move him carefully now. He's clearly, his legs are gone. So if you put him in there with someone, not even that, let's just say if he puts in a limit against like someone like Philip Hergovich or something like that, somebody like that who is legitimately dangerous.
I'm hearing for IBF eliminator that might be next. Ortiz versus Hergovich, whatever his name is, Hergovich.
And he'll probably lose that fight too.
Yeah, then you cash him out, have him fight Chisora in the UK.
Yeah. And also that has a lot of momentum.
See, Rusty agreed. That's a good fight.
Yeah. I mean, someone will get flattened in that fight. That's not.
Chisora fighting hard for just first 5 rounds could finish Ortiz though. Because Ortiz, like, he's not gonna be throwing fire like David Haye was.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And at least not repeatedly, not on some like, fuck it, I'm gonna destroy you type shit. It's gonna be, oh, here it goes, old man attack. So but yeah, I'm not looking forward to seeing Martin or Ortiz fight, or anybody on this card fight again. Like, and it's like, even the Hard Rock, like the whole presentation, everything. This is pay-per-view.
Honestly, it might be the most lowbrow pay-per-view presentation that PBC has actually had.
It just seems like PBC is trying to recoup for the front they give to Canelo. They're just trying to push out whatever shit they can to get even with Canelo, with what they had to pay Canelo.
Yeah, I'm saying, I mean, even PBC on Bounce had better production to the shit, like, and that's Bounce. You know what I'm saying? Like,
this was like some PBC Junior, like.
Yeah,
This some
like,
shit you let your nephew run for the weekend while you're vacationing somewhere, and you're like, "Well, I got this pay-per-view we're running this weekend. If you could just manage that and make sure everything's up and running logistically, and we should be good." Like,
yeah. I mean,
side project shit.
Yeah. PBC, like, I mean, honestly, if they're gonna be doing these paper, like, honestly, like, PBC really needs to try to refocus themselves, because, like I said, like, they have more of these pay-per-views coming down the pipeline. Like, they have the Keith Thurman pay-per-view coming down the pipeline, and I'm not a fan of that being on pay-per-view. It shouldn't be on pay-per-view. Like, no way should it be. So it's like, you know, I'm not a fan of this thing that they're doing with this pay-per-views. Like, pay-per-view should really be for established fighters. You either gotta have a super hot main event or a super hot undercard with a passable main event. Like, something has to give. Like if I actually paid $40 for this shit last night, I'd be heated. You know, so this wasn't it. Like, it had its moments, but it was not a pay-per-view. It was not. This was something that could have easily been FS1 or a lead-in, or a lead-in for, like, a, from college football or some shit. Like, January 1st is college football shit, bullshit. So that's basically my whole thing on this pay-per-view. Like, yeah, PBC, you guys gotta do better, man. Like, you can't just throw something on the wall and expect everything to stick. You know what I mean? So, I mean, yeah, that's all I have to say about it. Pilot, LB, any last words about the pay-per-view?
That I'm just kind of over. Like, there's just too many pay-per-views and just too many underwhelming cards. The matchmaking, just you gotta just do better. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, do better.
And just the whole production, it was just uninspiring. No one cared to be there or anything. No one fought with any urgency. And this is heavyweight boxing. And Wilder had a nice little tweet or IG message promoting it, and it's like, this is what y'all, this how y'all thank the man. Just
right.
First, bad show.
Yeah, like from the wise word of Pat, stop pushing bullshit cards, PBC.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah, this was like a PBC Fox card on steroids.
It was, yeah. It was definitely like
meaning that it should have been a regular PBC Fox card.
Yeah, like, I mean, I know for the ones that people saying, like, oh, this needed a pay-per-view, or this pay-per-view is good. Like, don't champion this, but then talk about, let's say, a Matchroom card on the Zone or Golden Boy and say what's this or that, because like this, you gotta keep the same energy.
The Zerto card was a better card than this, and that was a regular The Zone card.
Right.
Way more entertaining with the, I think, was that Lamont Roach fighting?
Yeah, Lamont Roach
super bad.
fighting. Yeah.
Way better quality card and almost by leaps and bounds, and matchmaking wise it wasn't.
Yeah.
So it's a problem with a regular card like that. It's just leaps and bounds above a pay-per-view card that y'all trying to hype up and sell. Just stop.
Yeah, like do better, man. Like, I mean,
yeah.
Thurman fight. I mean, unfortunately, it's too late. That's already signed, sealed, and delivered. Where I get
Thurman pay-per-view sounds better though. Like, as far as it shouldn't be pay-per-view either. But at least it seems like they put some type of thought in the matchmaking. Like, I feel like you'll get an entertaining night of boxing. You're not gonna feel like you wanted to see more fights. Like, when Ortiz and shit was over, I was like, damn, ain't no power tonight, ain't nothing else coming on. Like,
yeah, I think I just watched an episode of Cops and then I went to bed.
Yeah, like I literally think I went to, because I didn't finish Cobra Kai before that, so it's like I have shit. Fucking Demon Slayer ain't come out yet. Like, I mean, ain't nothing was left, so nigga just had to go to sleep after that. Like, man. Like, at least a Thurman card, Josito Lopez and Ramos. That's a good fight. Leo Santa Cruz, his fight that should be decent.
Yeah,
Thurman Barrios, that should be a good. So it's like I feel like you gonna get at least some entertaining scraps.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. You know,
Still ain't worth pay-per-view though. Like
exactly.
But hopefully it's end up better than this shit.
Yeah, for sure. And just to segue into our last and final topic of the night,